Before reading Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck, it's important to have some background information. Watch this introduction video and take notes on your introduction notes handout. John Steinbeck is the author of Mice and Men. He was born in Salinas, California in 1902, just over 100 years ago. Some of his most famous books were written in the 1930s and 1940s and are set in California. Most of his books focus on the lives and problems of working people. Oftentimes these people were immigrants who went to California looking for work or for a better life. It's important to consider the setting for the novella. Of Mice and Men is set in the farmland of the Salinas Valley, the same valley where Steinbeck was born. As a young man, Steinbeck worked as a farmhand for his father. In the novella, the main characters work on a ranch near Soledad, and there's a town called Weed nearby. The Salinas River winds around the area, an area that John Steinbeck would have been very familiar with. To put it in perspective, take a look at the map. You'll see Salinas and Soledad are located in Monterey County along the coast. To the north, the red dot represents the town of Weed. Of Mice and Men takes place during the Great Depression. The Great Depression was a time of severe economic crisis, supposedly precipitated by the U.S. stock market crash of 1929. The Great Depression was unprecedented in its length, the wholesale poverty, and the tragedy it inflicted on society. During the Great Depression, there were many migrant farm workers. During this time, the work of 350 men could now be done by 5. There was less work and there was now machinery that could handle the wheat harvesting that was taking place. Migrant farm workers earned only $2.50 or $3 a day, along with food and basic accommodation. At the same time, there were 6 years without rain in the Midwest, causing the Dust Bowl. Because of the Dust Bowl, farmers in Oklahoma, New Mexico, and Kansas had no choice but to sell or forfeit their farms to banks and migrate to fertile lands. Usually these fertile lands were found in the West, like California. Migrant farm workers lived from job to job, just like the main characters in Of Mice and Men. President Franklin Delano Roosevelt helped alleviate the effects of the Great Depression when he took over after President Hoover. He created domestic reform programs, economic policies, agricultural policies, and relief policies that helped to end the Great Depression. Another thing to think about is the American dream. Just like the characters in the book, people all over America have tried to live the American dream. Basically, the American dream are dreams for better life in America. People hope that their children will have more than they did. There are many reasons that people have the American dream. They hope to escape from persecution or poverty, to make a new life for themselves or their family, or in search of more money. During the Great Depression, the American dream also encompassed the idea of finding gold. Lastly, it's important to think about the title of Mice and Men. The title of Mice and Men comes from Scottish poet Robert Burns. In a poem called To a Mouse, there's a stanza that says, "The best laid schemes o' mice and men gang aft a gley, and leave us naught but grief and pain for promised joy." Basically, Burns was saying that oftentimes plans go wrong, and unfortunately, we'll see that as a common theme in Of Mice and Men.